What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Mets'd podcast, coming to you from the Foul Territory Network. And I do want to say, I don't think this is an emergency episode, but this is kind of an emergency episode because Mark and I just scheduled this in a bit of a panic. Me, especially in a bit of a panic, because Major League Baseball just announced that the Mets games on Wednesday and Thursday will be postponed and rescheduled as part of a straight doubleheader on Monday, the day before the Major League postseason is about to start. And I'm irate about it. Mark can't believe the nonsense that's going on, and we're going to talk about it all. Get our emotions out for you guys. But first, make sure you guys follow us on all our social media at Mets'd, METSDUP, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I don't remember anything else you do in the intro. I'm not the intro guy. What else? What am I missing here from the intro, dude?
Subscribe to the Mets'd podcast YouTube channel so you can see our pretty face. I've got a wicked pimple right now on my forehead. It's crazy. It's like I've got a horn. I'm a unicorn here. And if you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. We do appreciate it. We should read out some reviews, too, at the end of this episode. We haven't done that in a couple.
Definitely. But again, we had to hop on them. I mean, especially because I am just so absolutely irate, enraged by how this week was handled by the Braves, by Major League Baseball, by everybody involved. This is, not to be able to find a better word here, a clusterfuck, and by all levels, top to bottom, head to toe. Such an unbelievable mishandling, such an unbelievable lack of logic, some unbelievable lack of planning, preparation, everything. The fact that these two teams have their playoff lives possibly coming down to a 2-game doubleheader where they'll have to play 18 innings. And then one, if not both of them, will have to fly to a different part of the country the next day or that night after the game to play a wild card game, possibly the next afternoon, because one of the National League wild card games is afternoon, one of them's at night. It is such a botch, such a fuck up by the league and by the Braves. I'm so mad about how this whole thing has been handled.
Yeah, I mean, think about it like this. If those games on Monday do end up getting played, because there's a world where those games do not matter, theoretically, those games cannot matter on Monday. Technically, the Mets could clinch in Milwaukee, the Braves could be knocked out, the Diamondbacks could be in. That could technically be a thing that happens. But imagine a world where the Mets play Milwaukee, fly to Atlanta, play the doubleheader, then have to fly back to Milwaukee. And that all happens in a 48-hour span where they will be playing 3 games in those 48 hours. And then they would be playing a 4th game in the next day. And they surely would have to be the night game, but there's a chance that they would be the middle of the day game because it's Milwaukee and it's not a big market. And they play every wild card game during the same day. So, yeah, this is a complete catastrophe, to say the least, a complete botch job. You're a little bit more passionate about it than me just because I'm a little bit numb. I'm like, whatever, this is what we're going to have to do now, go out, win the games. Like, this sucks. But seeing that article that Joel Sherman wrote about what exactly the Atlanta Braves did to basically allow this to happen, it's a malpractice. It's terrible. It's awful. And the fact that Major League Baseball did not step in and say, you know what, we gave you the option to make this decision, you declined it, too bad. Because Major League Baseball does have the ultimate decision-making authority in this scenario. They can say, even though you don't want to do this, we're deciding for the better of the teams, for the better of the sport, for whatever the reason is. They can have the upper hand here and make that final decision. So, yes, as bad as the Braves were with caring about their ticket sales that were coming through and caring about the traffic, which is why they have 720 starts. How the fuck does Atlanta have traffic? Who even goes to that awful city anyway? It's a terrible place to live. It's hot and humid and they're getting hurricanes, whatever. Hopefully everybody's safe. Shout out that. Don't want anyone to be unsafe. But in the same time, all the reasoning that the Braves gave as to why they did not want to move the game up a day, play a doubleheader on Tuesday, is all the wrong reasons. And that almost makes me feel okay, because you want to know why? Me, Mr. Focus on Baseball for the organization on Twitter over here. The Braves, not focused on baseball. This organization is unserious. And this is the first time in a long time it feels like the Braves have been unserious, as you almost just threw up your water. You're so excited. You're so worked up. You almost threw up your water all over the screen again. You got to get on YouTube to see that. It was crazy.
Went down the wrong pipe there. But that Joel Sherman article is what pissed me off the most, because reading that, and I have the excerpt to read to you guys right now, really put into perspective how fucked up the situation is and how easily this would have been to handle. So this is directly from Joel Sherman, the New York Post. This came out middle of the day, Wednesday, September 25th. Background conversations with involved personnel indicated that basically the Braves were expecting large attendance for the 3 games. It was 40,000 people at Truist Park for Tuesday's opener, won by Atlanta, and did not want to forego the gates nor work through the logistics of moving personnel such as security, concessionaires, etc., to other dates and times. The Braves start their home game at 7:20 p.m., not earlier, for example, because there's flow of people getting in and out of the Battery by traffic after work. The two teams had a common off day Monday. The weather was such that a doubleheader could have been played Tuesday. The Mets pitched the idea of moving up the start time Wednesday before the forecast worsened. In the most dramatic move, the series could have been relocated to an empty park, not under threat of storm, such as Texas. MLB did not force a change. The league had a much easier decision in moving the start time of Tuesday's Rays Tigers game from 6:40 to 1:10 because both teams approved of the change. It helped that the Rays are not in contention. These two teams are not in the same division. The Mets and Braves are in the NL East battling for a playoff spot with one possibly missing altogether and do not exactly have great love for each other. Thus, the Mets have certainly wondered about gamesmanship here, notably that would allow likely NL Cy Young winner Chris Sale, coming off a game in which his average fastball velocity dropped 2 miles an hour, to have an extra day of rest before starting Wednesday, and will be in play to start on regular rest on Monday. That's the part here. This is the Braves, for the first time in this rivalry, at least in recent history, have looked in the mirror and understood they were the worst team. They needed to pull some bullshit to do this, even after winning the game in decisive fashion on Tuesday night. So they wanted to try and thread this needle of being able to play this game Wednesday night as scheduled, and then you can now have Chris Sale come back on Monday, which we alluded to in the episode on Sunday, and we alluded to the episode we did with the Braves guys yesterday, to where that was their perfect scenario. We have a 3-game series against the Mets. We absolutely need to win 2. We already won 1, and Chris Sale can start the next 2 games on an extra day of rest after his fastball velocity went down. Again, hat tip to them for being Bush League assholes, and that's what you want to do if you want to make the playoffs when your roster fucking sucks and half your team is injured. But wow, and then to say that we wanted to keep the gates and the revenue, you guys you've now just screwed both teams. That's another part of this, because again, I think the Braves internally are like, this is definitely not their year. We've lost half of our roster, including probably the best hitter, the best position player, third best position player, and the best pitcher in baseball.
Yeah.
So now we're like, all right, it's house money anyway. The Mets are on this magical run. Let's just fuck them because we hate them. And again, these teams hate each other. That's one of the beautiful parts about baseball, is that these rivalries form and they build and they grow. But holy shit, the absolute asinine behavior from this team. And then again, MLB not forcing it, but also MLB not forcing it because you can't force it if the home team's unwilling to do anything about it. And the Braves clearly, based on this Joel Sherman piece, were completely unwilling to do anything about it. And I say all this, and I'm this mad just at the incompetency of everything.
Yeah.
Because when you step back for a second and look honestly at the situation, this is a net positive for the Mets. It really is.
Oh,
truthfully.
Major net positive.
The way this is handled does help the Mets in their pursuit of the postseason. What happens after they possibly get a postseason berth doesn't help the Mets at all. No. And that's why I'm frustrated more. But to actually hit the number one goal of reach the playoffs, it's unquestionably positive for the Mets.
Yeah, no, we were talking earlier today over text about how the worst thing, literally, that could have happened was play the game on Wednesday, play a game on Monday, because you're still doing the travel, you're still getting fucked to the playoffs, even if you do make it, and you're going to be facing Chris Sale twice, which is not a recipe for success. Again, National League Cy Young Award winner. So for the actual Mets' ability to make the postseason, this is better. This is better than what would have happened because we were never playing Thursday. The true thing would have been the series to go as planned. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That would have been the best possible thing that could have happened. You go into Milwaukee knowing exactly what you need to do. But because that was never going to be on the table because of Hurricane, was it Helen? I don't know exactly what the name is, but because of the hurricane that is going through the weirdest area ever. I feel like hurricanes never go up the Gulf that way. They always go around the East Coast. They weren't going to play that game on Thursday. There was absolutely no shot. So technically, I think that's also why I'm a little less mad than you, because I've now I've had like 6 hours to rationalize that the doubleheader actually gives us a better chance to get to the playoffs. And you know what? Wild card weekend, it's not the weekend. They're doing it during the week this year, but it's chaos to begin with anyway. You're playing 3 games in a row on the road against a team in playoff atmosphere, win or go home type of scenario. It's chaos to begin with. Fuck it. Let's embrace the chaos. This season's been crazy. This season's been nuts. We have a fucking purple mascot being the spiritual leader of this team. The only thing that's missing is this kind of nonsense at the end of the season to put on the fucking DVD at the end of the year when they win the World Series.
Okay, everything you said is true. And again, I think I'm just mad really right now. And that's why I wanted to record immediately, because I'm so pissed off.
Yeah.
Yes, there's incompetence all around by everyone involved in the situation. That sucks. And also, the big elephant in the room, this drastically helps the chance of Francisco Lindor playing a maximum amount of games the rest of the year. Dramatically so, because Lindor was going to be in the lineup on Wednesday, which I also think the Mets maybe knew that they probably weren't going to play the game. Same thing with him coming up to pinch hit with 2 outs and nobody on
He
yesterday
was
being in the
never
on deck
going to hit
circle.
last night. Never. He was never.
He might have hit last night, but there are definitely a lot of other chances for him to contribute to that game before that would have happened. But again, digress. Now, at least with extra off days here built in, there seems to be a high chance he's in the lineup on Friday. And now what becomes must-win games for the Mets against the Brewers team, that's nothing to play for. When the Braves are going to be playing must-win games against the Royals, they have a lot to play for. So again, this does flip back and help the Mets in other ways because that Francisco Lindor coming back, like I said. But now the Braves can't really get cute with their pitching. Some people think they're going to hold Chris Sale back to pitch against the Mets. There's no fucking way they do that. Chris Sale's going to pitch Friday. Max Fried's going to pitch Saturday. And I also think for the Mets, Sean Manaea, I think, is going to pitch Friday.
Yeah.
And I think Saturday you probably do. I don't know if you do Quintana or Peterson. Maybe you just
depends on what you win. It depends.
I guess it depends if you win the one game. I think that there's so much game theory now. It's going to go on to this, and it all comes back to this gamesmanship by the Braves, which is really bush league by the Braves because it's a fucking loser move by them. Is actually what this was, and I can't get over the indecency behind them and all this shit.
Now, this is again the first time in a while where the Braves have had a little crack in their armor, a little bit of being human for the first time. The voodoo bullshit that they always might work against them this time. They tried to get cute. They tried to sneak in 2 Chris Sale starts against the Mets instead of just 1. And now they're going to get 0 Chris Sale starts against the New York Mets. So I think, again, net positive for the playoff situation. But there has to be some sort of system in place if this ever were to happen again, because it is absolutely insane that the home team just gets to decide the fate of what happens. Like that, the fact that there's not just every other sport, I feel like, has a governing body that's just like unbiased and makes the best decisions for like the greater good, which I think is a little bit dramatic.
I don't know about that. The NFL just played the game in Brazil on a grass field and let the players just run through slop basically for 3 hours in the first game of the season.
They let them play on FedEx Field too every year, and everyone's like, that's the worst field in the entire NFL. It's not even close. But like the idea that the Braves were just allowed to be like, nah, nope, can't do that. We won't do that. It's not that we can't. We won't actually do that. We have no interest in doing that. Bullshit. But also, you know what? Good. Some Mets fans, we were talking about this earlier too, James, on text. Some Mets fans don't hate the Braves as much as we need to.
No.
People talk about the Phillies as our biggest rivals. People will say heinous things like the New York Yankees being our biggest rivals. We hate the Yankees, but we know that the hierarchy is for sure Braves, Phillies, and a couple other teams than the Yankees. We hate the Yankees as like you hate your big brother, but you don't hate them like you do the Phillies.
Shut the fuck up. Don't say that.
What? I say that. I say that all the time. It doesn't bother me at all. That's very much on brand. That's fine. You don't have to buy that take. But there wasn't enough hate for the Braves just yet. I know everybody hates them, but people don't want this team dead. I want them dead. I want them out. I want them done. I want their season over.
Oh, want them dead, want them desecrated. Okay, like we said before, want them to bleed, like want bad things to happen to them. And also, this
again, and when we say bad things to happen is very much like
they lose.
Yeah, they lose. It's not like
they lose. Like they lose. They miss the playoffs for like 9 straight years. Like
my words
like
be getting twisted. I
don't want anyone to be hurt. I don't want any ex-humans for blood to be drawn from them. I just want them to lose baseball games. That's the extent of what I mean. Maybe in embarrassing fashion. Yeah,
you're talking to Darth Vader over here now to some Mets fans. So I got to make sure I'm very clear with my words.
All right, great time for us to take a quick break.
We're busy. You're busy. And figuring out food all the time is a hassle, especially when you're trying to eat right. Fuel up with Factor's no prep, no mess meals.
Meet your wellness goals thanks to the menu of chef-created meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor features fresh, never frozen meals, dietitian approved, and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great-tasting meals.
Treat yourself to restaurant-quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and salmon. With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, you'll always have new flavors to explore.
Head to factormeals.com/FAL50 and use code FAL50 to get 50% off your first box, plus 20% off your next month. That's code FAL50 at factormeals.com/FAL50. to get 50% off your first box, plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active.
All right, we're back in now. I think another part of this, too, that's also super annoying from the Braves' perspective, they know they're just sitting at home this whole time.
Yeah, they don't get to go
home
anywhere.
Series against the Mets. There's a home series this weekend against the Royals. Then it's a home doubleheader now on Monday, whereas the Mets are back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. And another part of it is so stupid. I was literally, you could just tell the Mets fandom is so hot right now. I was out I was down in Brooklyn today. Shout out our guy Eric, hometown barbecue, best barbecue in the city by far.
Looked delicious.
Totally bomb. Went there, had a great lunch on Wednesday before all this uproarious hatred started pouring out of my veins. And I was just hanging out around South Brooklyn, walking around talking to people like on Smith Street. Guy was wearing a Mets hat. I was like, what's going on? I was like, let's go Mets. And we were lamenting about how ridiculous it is that the Mets got flexed on Sunday Night Baseball.
Yes.
Because the Mets didn't get flexed on Sunday Night Baseball, it would have made tons of sense for the Mets and the Braves, who had a similar off day, like Joel Sherman mentioned in his article, to have just started the series on Monday when the weather was pristine and perfect. If you would have done a Monday game, a Tuesday doubleheader, 2 off days, and then gone to Milwaukee and the Braves had Kansas City, that would have wound up great too. But because Major League Baseball is at the whim of the national networks, and the Mets and Phillies have to be on Sunday Night Baseball, and Kyle Schwarber has to be talking about his batting practice routine. A lot of people got mad about that. Tense moments of the game. Pete Alonso's getting a standing ovation for what could be his final home games in New York Met. But Bryce Harper's talking about his preparation. Not Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber. Yeah, thank you, ESPN, for that one. But because that game had to be flexed, then we're not going to agree to play a game on Monday, travel after a night game, play one of our most important game of the season. The whole thing, step to step to step, was completely fucking botched, all in the name of like a few dollars and some television ratings by Major League Baseball and then the Braves.
Yeah, no, it sucked. It sucked. We even were like, why are we playing Sunday night? Like, this game has no significance now besides
none whatsoever.
Like, I know the Phillies could have technically clinched the NL East. Why not put on the Orioles Tigers? That game meant a lot more to both of those teams than it did for the Mets Phillies, because the Mets were the only team fighting for a playoff spot in that game, whereas the Tigers and Orioles are fighting for a spot with each other at that point. They were fighting for it with each other. So it was a weird call. I mean, we know what it is. It's East Coast bias. It's Mets versus Phillies. It's a rivalry.
The game was lit. We were there. The game was incredible.
The game was awesome. I mean, it should happen at 1 o'clock. I would have preferred that. 7 o'clock is great. I'm glad we won. But holy shit, thank God we won, by the way, because last night's game or Tuesday night's game was atrocious. But yeah, this is just going to be another page in what is going to be one of the most chaotic. Who put out the graph the other day on Twitter that you sent me?
Yeah,
where it had like the spikes and like, here's where Grimace was, here's where the dog was, here's where OMG happened. You're going to add the rain delay at some point, the double header on a Monday, days before you have to play the biggest series maybe of your entire season if you make it to the postseason. Just absolutely crazy. But yeah, let's give that person a little love.
That was from These Mets at Love These Mets in the Mets community. It's probably one of my favorite tweets I've ever seen, because
I'll put it on the screen.
This person did a very basic one of like, this is when the Mets lost their first few games. This was Jorge Lopez. This was Grimace. This was OMG. This was the Grimace seat. Like, this is where we are now. And then someone was like, can you add all the other stuff? And this person added like 15 more little things with like the art appage, like these little arrows. Like, it was Sanger returning, OMG concert, All-Star break, City Connect reveal, Seymour Wiener, like Luis Torrens for $100,000, and a big bracket, the gay Mets, like written in rainbow letters. It's one of the best graphics I've ever seen on Twitter. But it's just, this does come down to just another little tiny chapter in what's truthfully been the most fucking chaotic season of Mets baseball I can remember in my life. And the fact that it was going to come to an end for better or worse at the end of this week, and I was so ready that we were ready for war the other night. And I was like, yes, I kept all my energy tight, and I was ready to do it for one more week. And we're gonna have to go back to this hell pit, this miserable place, Truist Park, for 2 games on Monday, 24 hours before a fucking possible playoff series begins. It's unbelievable. How could they let it get to this point?
I was gonna say, I just got a crazy thought in my head. I was like, what if it rains Monday?
I mean, I guess I'll look at the weather right now. Whatever.
I checked it. It's partly cloudy in Atlanta on Sunday. But I'm like, imagine a world that rains on Monday. Then what do you do? Like, what happens? This is why it's like so. It was irresponsible by both the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball to not make this series go Monday, doubleheader Tuesday, or at least go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and move the game up on Wednesday to an earlier start time. There really is no reason that the Mets should have played on Monday, but I know it's because of the Sunday Night Baseball.
Sunday Night Baseball, yeah. So if that wasn't the case, but again, that's ESPN, the national networks, railroading MLB, which they will do that. And also, of course, of all of the slate on Sunday, like, yeah, Orioles Tigers, what a great important game.
Fun for us.
I don't think the national electorate wanted to see Orioles Tigers. I don't think they would have been super scintillated by Diamondbacks Brewers. No. It always comes down to the East Coast teams. Everyone wants the Mets, everyone wants the Phillies, everyone wants the Yankees, everyone wants the Red Sox. That's just how sports work for these networks. It's always been that way. But then also, it did rain all day Wednesday, so we weren't able to move that game up. But the fact that the Braves seem to be just broke, penny pinching, Mr. Krabs over here. They can't move 2 of these games to a neutral site just to get them in to improve their own potential in possibly reaching the playoffs if they should be confident enough they could win the series straight up, which again, maybe they weren't. They have to muddy the waters and muck it up because they know how much worse their team is than ours right now. It's so dumb. I'm so mad. Like, we could have just, MLB seems like they soft suggested, let's play the series in Texas, which is weird that they like neutral site as Texas for all these games.
Globe Life Park, baby. It's a great stadium.
I don't know why that is. Texas always becomes the neutral setting. If they even could have done something like more in the area to make the Braves feel more at home. I understand it also would be a logistical nightmare, but this seems like much more of a logistical nightmare for everybody, right? Maybe it's more of a logistical nightmare for the Mets. While it does help, it's my head spinning right now. There's so much shit. There's so much stuff. I can't believe this is real. And also, where are we going to watch these games on Monday at 1 o'clock?
Dude.
1 and 4, straight up doubleheader on Monday.
I mean, anybody who listens, if you work at a bar, you own a bar that's going to be open at 1 o'clock on a Monday and willing to have me and James sit in it, we just need a couple stools. We need a couple stools, a couple cold beverages that we're happy to pay for, but we need somewhere to watch because I'm telling you right now, it cannot be in my apartment. There's no shot.
I don't want to do it in my apartment either. So I'm sure it's gonna be a nice day. Like, I would love to find a place to watch these outside somewhere. Like, I wish we could do like how the Rangers did the playoff games, like projector in Central Park, just a bunch of rabid Mets fans there. But then there's not enough. Like, could you imagine? Put yourself in different shoes right now. Could you imagine if you had a real job? And like, how could you sit at work on Monday? I feel bad for all of you guys listening who are going to be in your offices on Monday at 1 o'clock when these games are going on. Like, you need the boss button for March Madness right now. Like, to watch these games, this should be like, if you work in like a New York centric company, this should absolutely be cause to get out of work on Monday. Like, no doubt about it. Like, this is the most important game of the season. This is basically playoff games with 2 of them in one day.
I'm going to say it here first so that we know that we came up with this idea when the marketing team inevitably takes it. They're going to open up Citi Field on Monday for a watch party at that stadium, 100%.
Maybe. I mean, they definitely should. That'd be a great idea if they did. And whenever they listen to this podcast on Thursday afternoon, they're going to, oh, yeah, someone's going to steal that idea and announce it to the team.
Whatever it is, don't do the fucking watch party at that bar in the Lower East Side that we went to during the last Braves series.
Not allowed.
Again.
Not allowed.
That place called like Lemon Drop or something?
Harry Lemon.
Harry Lemon. There it is. I knew it was something lemon related. Never again in that bar. Never.
No, absolutely not allowed. And it's just,
it also completely fucks the Diamondbacks too, because the Diamondbacks are going to have to wait until Monday to figure out where they could be traveling if they're in the postseason. The Royals are like, oh, great. Now we get to face Chris Sale and Max Fried. Thanks a lot, Braves. We're fighting for a postseason spot. Like, the ramifications of this decision-making are massive, not just to the Mets and the Braves alone. This affects other teams as well. This theoretically could affect the Padres as well.
The Padres, oddly, right now, while they're the first wildcard team, are in play not only for the National League West, but for the top overall seed in the National League.
So this could fuck up the Dodgers, too.
This could fuck up every single team, basically, besides the Phillies.
And the Brewers.
So, yeah, I guess the Brewers. The Brewers are locked in. The Brewers don't know who they're playing. You can't really game plan. I guess, whatever. You can't game plan. Oh, my God. But these NCAA tournament teams, they have to do the game plans like in one day before the next round. But it's just, I think the Diamondbacks are the ones who might have been the most royally fucked here because this team is, I'm not going to say they're in a free fall because they just had a 4-game winning streak.
You say nothing about this team. Yeah, you say nothing.
No, I know. But I'm saying, like, they have a series this weekend against the Padres. And the Padres, depending on how Wednesday and Thursday's game go against the Dodgers, could have different things to play for. If the Padres wind up splitting these games against the Dodgers and still go into that last series of the year back 2 games, they're going to be gunning. Like, they're going to be doing everything they can to do it. And it might not matter because the Dodgers could win out. I got to see who the Dodgers are playing. But that Padres team, who's the hottest team in baseball, right now playing like they're the best team in baseball, which is, it's so impressive how royally they fucked up their offseason. They're still playing like one of the best teams in baseball. It's a lot of credit to those players in the clubhouse, but it's really bizarre, honestly, looking back. But I just can't believe the butterfly effect of ramifications has. Oh, the Dodgers are going 2 Coors Field for the last series of the year. That's not that much fun.
Oh, I'll tell you what. They almost can't lose the division because the Dodgers in particular, but when they go home from Coors Field, they have horrendous numbers, and they would be playing the next 2 days, or 2 days later, not enough recovery time. That would be a bad move for the Dodgers to have to play in the wild card if that was the case.
Yeah, and also, if you guys didn't see it, the Dodgers-Padres game on Tuesday ended with a triple play by Miguel Rojas with Shohei Ohtani on deck in a 2-run game. It was so vital to me to get a save from Robert Suarez in a fantasy championship matchup. It was unbelievable. I was screaming on my couch watching a Dodgers-Padres triple play.
Baseball talk, unrelated to the Mets. Do you bunt with Miguel Rojas there knowing Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman are coming up next?
I still don't bunt because they had such ease with Robert Suarez that inning. He's a professional hitter. I don't know.
You still want Miguel Rojas swinging? Like, I mean, take away the triple play. That's
the
crazy.
odds of a triple play are astronomically low.
But a double play, and then I don't know. You walk Ohtani, you have to face Mookie Betts, and then where do we put him? Bases loaded, and then I have to face Freddie Freeman. I don't know.
You're not wrong. In a vacuum, that might have been the one situation where if you're down by multiple runs, you should bunch because of how bad Miguel Rojas is relative to the three guys behind it. But again, the fact that it wasn't even a bad. It was a well hit ball. It was down the line. Man Machado backhanded the ball on the line, and Jay Cronenworth with a ridiculously good turn at second base. And I tell you, Miguel Rojas much slower than he looks coming down the line there. But there's so much up in the air right now. It kind of sucks that we're not going to talk to you guys probably until Monday because so many things are going to happen before that. It's going to be an insane episode because anything could happen between now and Monday where the Mets have to. Also, this is a situation. The Diamondbacks lose a bunch of games this week. Pretend. Mets and Braves both clinch. How do you handle those games?
Yeah, what
do you do?
Like if you're the Mets and you're already in and the Braves are already in, you're like, okay, you guys win. Like, do you go out on the field and like tip the cap? All right, winner, you get it. We don't want to go to San Diego. We want to play Milwaukee. Like
that's what I mean.
Do? Yeah,
but you can't do that. Do you go in the field and try to lose on purpose? What kind of juju is that? Also, here's another crazy one. What if the Mets win 2 out of 3 this week and the Braves lose 2 out of 3? The Mets and Braves play game 1. The Mets win game 1, clinch. What do you do? Do you do champagne? Do you do champagne between the doubleheader?
But then what if game 2 matters for the Braves because they're fighting the Diamondbacks?
Yeah. Yes. And then you're locked into either the Padres or the Dodgers, and the other team has to be locked into the Brewers. Do you just not play anyone? This is crazy. Does Huascar Brazoban throw 9 innings in that game? They get left off the playoff roster. Like, it's a doubleheader. You call up an extra guys. There's Mike Vassell, 9 innings.
I was about to say, who's like one of the 35-year-old pitchers that's been in AAA getting shelled all year? Like, do you call him up?
Lucchesi.
Yeah, you call up Joey Lucchesi. You're like, bud, welcome to the majors. You're back, buddy. Throw 9.
You pitch 9 innings. You get your game check, and that's all. And then you get to hang out in the dugout during the playoff run. It's just there's so many tiny little things that are going to happen between now and Monday. I can't even there's too many permutations to even do on this podcast right now.
I will say I feel so good that we're gonna have a nice break for a couple days, like 2 nights off of just like, you know what, like after we're done with this podcast, after it's edited, my brain shut offs. It's off. The Braves don't even play tomorrow, so I can't hate watch them. I guess I can hate watch the Diamondbacks, but it's just like one of those things where it's like, all right, the calm before the storm, because the next 4 days will be absolute chaos.
Madness. I can't even. This is another thing. Like, it's going to be such a challenge for Carlos Mendoza to help this team not look ahead to Monday.
Yeah.
Because now these 3 Brewers games are just simply more important than the games Monday, because if you win these Brewers games, you can kind of push those games Monday and make them not mean as much. Then it would be so much beneficial to this team for those games on Monday to mean less. Just then you could get yourselves kind of in order for what would be a playoff series that begins on Tuesday. I can't believe how much drama there is with this shit. It's only the fucking Mets this would happen to.
Only the Mets. Before we do talk about the Brewers series coming up here, we will be right back with a word from our sponsors.
I love a great deal, but I'm not going to run sprints in the outfield just to save a few bucks. It has to be easy. No hoops, no BS. With Mint Mobile, it really is that easy to get wireless for $15 a month with the purchase of a 3-month plan. Purchase and activation is super easy too.
To get started, go to mintmobile.com/territory. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number.
To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/territory. That's mintmobile.com/territory. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/territory.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on their first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
All right, so we've got the Brewers series coming up. I don't think we're going to have pitching matchups because, again, we don't know what's happening.
Well, I think what we should do is talk about how we'd play the pitching matchups, maybe.
Okay.
Because I think that's kind of an interesting discussion. Because right now, I think if you talk about, I don't care about who pitched last. Let's say we're making the hierarchy of Mets starting pitchers right now.
Sean Manaea.
We're ranking them. Manaea, Severino, Peterson.
Oh man,
right?
I might go Quintana.
That's not great either.
I know. I mean, the options are the options we have. But I might. You know what I'm going to say? Here's what I'll give you. I'll go Peterson, have McGill ready, have Budo ready immediately to go. As soon as he hits the third inning, get one of those guys up. We piggyback
Budo
each
hasn't
other.
thrown more than an inning in a month and a half.
It's almost October. It's time to wake up. He can do it.
But I'm just saying, I don't
Then
think
give it to McGill.
That's like I think McGill's the guy who would be the let's see what happens starter, because there's just there's a real chance maybe the game Sunday doesn't mean anything. There's a real chance the second game Monday doesn't mean anything. And then there's just like this massive shuffling. Then some people were like, we have to hold back Manaea to pitch against the Braves. No way. Then he won't pitch
Absolutely
for 9
not.
days.
Yeah.
He's too good of a pitcher to miss any starts whatsoever. And at least if he pitches on Friday, if we get to Tuesday, then he can pitch possibly game 2 of the wild card series on Wednesday. And then if we wind up throwing Severino Saturday, because if we pitch Manaea, Severino Friday, Saturday, and the Braves lose and the Diamondbacks lose 2 more games, then I think based on my math, that Saturday a win is a clinch for the Mets. Maybe, maybe not.
So the magic number is 4 still, because nothing changed with last night. So Friday is the most important game right now of the season.
By far.
You have to win Friday, because if you win Friday, you bring the magic number down to 3. If the Braves lose on Friday, it's officially 2. You do that again on Saturday, Mets are in. Mets are in the playoffs. That Brave series will not matter for shit besides seeding. And honestly, don't care. Don't care about the seeding at all. Get in the playoffs, play who you play. But that's why you have to start Manaea Friday. Can Sevy start Saturday? What's the day's rest on that?
He'd probably have to start Sunday because he pitched Tuesday.
Okay, so it'd be either Peterson or Quintana or whoever, whatever they decide would be Saturday.
But then that's now where the game theory comes into play, because let's say you win Friday, you think you can go for a kill shot Sunday. Whoever pitches Sunday and Saturday, I guess in Friday too, basically guarantee cannot pitch in a doubleheader. You're pitching 3 guys this weekend who will not be able to appear in this doubleheader. So you're probably holding back one of Severino, Peterson, or Quintana to start game 1 of the doubleheader. Then McGill's basically, I think, a lock for game 2 of the doubleheader, unless you win the first 2 games and then McGill pitches the Sunday. And then you probably don't want Severino to face the Braves again. So you probably hold back Severino. So you're almost kind of guaranteed that either Quintana or Peterson starts that Monday, the first game of the doubleheader. I think we just worked through it.
Yeah, I think we did. I think he just figured it out. And
I also say this. I think there's a world where you might just do Severino again, because I don't think Severino pitched that poorly. I think there was a lot of Severino that was slight lack of execution on his part and on the defense's part. And I think this was a good take that came from Brad and Steven from the Braves show, Hammer Territory. You guys listen to Hammer Territory. This Braves team is susceptible to a really talented righty, because there are only 2 lefties in the lineup. It's about getting those 2 lefties out. It's about not letting Michael Harris gouge you again and had it going for almost a fucking cycle by the 5th inning. But in terms of the entire Mets staff, Severino is the best matchup for this team that's all righties. Like, I don't know how badly I'm jumping to start lefties against this Braves team.
And I think, I feel like I got told recently that the Brewers struggle against left-handed pitching. So maybe
you told me that.
Maybe I did, but I think someone told me. I think I heard it through the grapevine. I want to say, honestly, Brzezinski or Kratz, when I went on Foul Territory, asked me this question about who are you pitching against the Brewers, and I remember being very stuck. I'm like, I don't know, I can't think about that yet. Maybe you just go the 2 lefties, and then you have Severino, and you have Tyler McGill.
Weirdly, against this Braves team that is all right-handed hitters, like there's a world. And also, I think I'm just also more confident in oh my god, I can't believe it.
I can't believe you're going to say this.
There's a world right now where that Tyler McGill's doing things in the short sample he's pitching in where I wouldn't hate him starting an important game. These might be my last words, but he just did it pretty well, a couple times in a row. Milwaukee is exactly a league average team against lefties, and the Brewers are that's a 99 WRC plus, and against righties they are where are they? Milwaukee.
I don't know.
106.
Okay,
10th.
So they are worse.
16th and 10th. They're slightly worse against lefties. Yeah.
Which
is that's something.
That's like a coin flip, basically.
Yeah, it basically doesn't matter at all. But I think that Braves team is definitely going through the lineup on Tuesday. It seems like they would be much worse against the righty compared to a lefty, because only 2 lefties. Again, those 2 lefties are 2 of the best 3 hitters in the team in the lineup, so that makes that difficult. It's such a Sophie's choice. I'd love to be a fly on the wall right now, like in the meeting with Mendoza, Stearns, Hefner, like all the guys right now talking about how they're going to align this pitching and what they're going to do. Because there was rumors about Paul Blackburn coming back too and being activated. Like there's so many tiny little permutations about what can happen. Like this is the epitome of like running a baseball team. This is also a legit nightmare.
Yeah, no, this is chaos to the fullest extent. And we're just going to have to watch it. We're just going to have to watch it go. It's going to be a stressful weekend. Hopefully Monday, I hope Monday doesn't matter at all for the positive. I hope it positively doesn't matter, but
I think there's no chance it doesn't matter.
There's no shot it doesn't matter. Of course it's going to matter. That's because this is being a Mets fan. I know a lot of you guys probably didn't listen to yesterday's episode because I don't blame you. We hopped on with Braves fans to hear them talk about how great the game was for them and how terrible it was for us. We saw the game. We watched it. We don't need to relive it.
Fucking horrible.
Don't blame you guys for not listening. Hopefully you're listening to this one, though.
We should touch on some Brewers things just because we haven't seen them since March, and this team is really different since then. Namely, Jackson Chourio has ascended. He's one of the most dynamic leadoff hitters in baseball at 20 years old. I think he's the first person in their age 20 season to go 20-20, and he's done it in dominant fashion. He has like a 900 OPS over the last 3 months. William Contreras, one of the best hitting catchers in the league. Willie Adames has had an amazing bounce back season, Mark, over 800 OPS. Rhys Hoskins, I mean, we all know everything about Rhys Hoskins you want to know. That's just it. He's not having a good year, but I know he'll do something to kill the Mets because he lives to kill the Mets. Joey Ortiz, a good little player at the bottom of the order. Sal Frelick and Bryce Terang are exactly what they always were, just pesky little bastards that just can run around.
William Contreras?
Yes, probably the best hitting catcher in baseball.
Yeah. I mean, he's unbelievable. I will say Freddie Peralta is pitching tonight, Wednesday night.
And Tobias Myers pitch Tuesday, so we're not going to see them.
And Savali's pitching Thursday, so we're not going to see those guys.
So we might see Tobias. Actually, we'll see Tobias Sunday then.
Yeah, we'll see Tobias Myers one of the days, and then the other, it's Colin Ray and your boy Frankie Montas, right? Is that who we're going to be getting?
Yeah, we're definitely getting Montas this weekend. He's a for sure. Montas coming off some bad starts, but it's been pretty good in the second half. The Brewers are pushing his fastball usage because he throws 98 miles an hour, and it's been helping him a lot before a bad blow up last weekend against, I think that was the Phillies. And then Tobias Myers, a guy we're likely going to see on Sunday. He's going to infuriate everybody watching. The Brewers did the Brewers thing where they picked up Tobias Myers off the scrap heap. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he was a Ray, and he was traded to the Guardians for Junior Caminero, who's become like the top power hitting prospect in baseball. Looks like a future stud.
Get ready for this. He was an Oriole traded for Tim Beckham. Tim Beckham, former number one overall pick from the Rays. He was then traded to the Rays, or from the Rays to the Guardians for Junior Caminero, who became one of the top prospects in baseball. The Giants then got him from the Guardians. He was selected by waivers by the White Sox from the Giants. The White Sox cut him at the end of 2022. The Brewers signed him a month later, or 2 months later, and now he's been one of their best pitchers all year. Where would they be without Tobias Myers?
Yeah, he has a 3.09 ERA in 25 starts. It's pretty amazing what he's been doing, and he's just doing it with like some classic kitchen sink bullshit, like four-seamer, cutter. He's got a sinker he mix in there a tiny bit, not that much, curveball, changeup.
They're going to probably give us a little bit of Joe Ross, who's been a long man for them out of the bullpen a little bit this year. We're probably going to see a little bit of DL Hall. We're probably going to see a little bit of Aaron Ashby. Again, they have no incentive to physically win these games outside of like maybe moving up out of the wild card.
They can, right? They're only 2 games behind the Phillies for a bye, and a bye is massive, not playing the wild card round. So
in the same regards, you don't want to push your pitchers more than you have to, knowing that there could be 3 games in 3 days coming up again. So I think there's going to be a little bit more caution on their side with pitch counts, how deep pitchers go into games this series.
Totally. But I think there is massive. I mean, again, a lot's going to happen before the series starts because every one of these teams naturally is going to play 2 games while the Mets and the Braves are idle. So a lot of this can change. Like the Phillies can just keep winning. They're already winning 4-0 against the Cubs in the 3rd inning. Cubs team that's finally decided to roll over after actually a pretty good second half. Christopher Sanchez is dealing. Castellanos and Trey Turner have home runs. Phillies look like they're going to win this one. The Brewers are also playing your Pirates, who suck. And they're going through massive turmoil because they released Rowdy Tellez with 4 plate appearances to go until $200,000 bonus. And Ben Cherington swears they didn't DFA him because of the bonus. They just DFA'd him because of things that are happening. And wouldn't you know it, Rowdy Tellez actually has been hitting as best as he has all year in the last 2 months of ball, which is it's really funny for Ben Cherington to come out and say that. But so much can happen; it's hard to figure. But I think the Brewers are going to be giving effort in this series, but not max effort.
Yeah,
they're going to try just enough because whoever pitches Friday, whoever pitches this weekend, it lines up that they can still come back and pitch in the wild card series. Mm-hmm. So I think it makes sense for these guys to pitch a fine amount, stay on schedule, stay on task, stay hot, but not blow it out. Yeah,
no, totally. I don't think you're going to see anybody go super deep into games unless the pitch count is low. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Now I do know I've heard that Frankie Peppers has got a message for us because even when there aren't games to talk about, he's still on top of his game. And I know I tried to do a New York thing with the chopped cheese. It didn't work on Tuesday night. But I'm sure Frankie's got a little story to tell us. So let's hear what he's got.
I got Frankie doing a nice pot of gravy, nice sauce, because I think we had to stay Italian.
We
I
have
think
to
you went
stay
New York.
Italian. I know.
You went New York, not Italian. I think that might have been the mistake here. So I don't even know what else to give Frankie. I was running out of things thinking about. I might give him some crap. I was going to give him cacciatore, but I thought that was rude. So
Okay,
chicken
we'll talk
scarpiello.
after we hear from him. Let's see.
Here's Frankie Peppers, everybody.
Gentlemen, Frankie Peppers, how you doing? I got a suggestion for you. If you ever need lessons on how to screw something up as much as possible, I think you should reach out to the Braves and to MLB because they did a fantastic job of handling this situation as poorly as possible. I don't understand what they were thinking. I don't think anybody understands what they're thinking. I don't know if MLB understood what they were thinking, and I don't know if the Braves ever understand what they're thinking. Braves, how about you give a contract worth more than $3 to a player under the age of 20, and don't make him give 1% to the Atlanta Braves Foundation. But not a great loss yesterday. Didn't look too good, but we could have come back. That's what this team has done all year. We control our own destiny going into Milwaukee, and you know that this team controls their own destiny right now, and they know they're going to make it. I'll talk to you soon. Cheers, boys.
Those are great words to fire us up.
Thank you to Frankie Peppers for ending this podcast on a high note, because it is true. I let my emotions get the better of me in the last 45 minutes here. I've been angry all day because of this.
Of course.
But the Mets do control their own destiny. We won't go into Milwaukee. We take care of business. Series against the Braves doesn't matter, and it doesn't fucking matter. But I also want to throw you a chaos scenario that Jason Stark just tweeted.
Oh, gross.
Because this is horrifying. There's the max chaos scenario. Mets play Sunday in Milwaukee. Doubleheader Monday in Atlanta, the wild card game Tuesday in San Diego. That's 4 games in 56 hours in 3 different time zones.
Yeah.
That would be not fun.
No, it wouldn't be fun at all. It'd be, you know what? Fuck it. It would be fun. You want to know why? Because we're in the playoffs.
It'd be super
we're in the
fucking
playoffs.
fun.
It'd be so fucking fun. I want the chaos scenario. Give me it.
Oh my god! Again, none of this fucking matters unless the Mets go out there and take care of business. Just win games, reach the playoffs. This Mets team has set out for the last few months with a goal in mind. That goal it's not even just making the playoffs. It's going through the playoffs. It's winning playoff series. That's the thing that's pissed me off the most about this. I'm losing track of a little bit of making the playoffs because I'm like, this possibly playing 2 hardcore doubleheader games on Monday could dramatically hurt our chance of moving on past that. But fuck it. That doesn't matter. Making the playoffs doesn't matter. You can't win a series in the playoffs if you don't make it there first. We have to do this shit. We got to take care of business. We got to win this. And I'm ready now. We've paused the war in Atlanta, and we're marching north to Milwaukee. We're going to take the war there.
Yeah, we're attacking those beer drinking cheeseheads. We're attacking them. We're storming the castle. We're ready to take over. Let's fucking go, Mets. We got a couple reviews here to read as we wrap up. We've got one from JFK1!1. He built this team in a cave with sticks. I think that was a line from you,
which is Stearns?
About David Stearns. From rock bottom in May to one of the most exciting and resilient seasons I've ever seen. You guys have put on an incredible show the whole way. Thank you. Let's take care of Atlanta. And then you want to take the next one, or you want me to just read it as well?
Yeah, I'm still loading up some
All right,
reviews.
We've got Dahmir, part of the Mets'd hive mind, one of the bright minds that we consult when we need to hear your guys' opinions on a more in-depth level. Great, unique Mets content. I hate that James and Mark are so young, but what can I say? They know Mets ball better than anyone else. Highlights for me are you get to learn about the development of both major and minor league players with actual data to support points and observations, yet they also exemplify the emotional roller coaster that each Met fan embraces and goes through. I highly recommend watching and hearing. Dahmir, thank you, buddy. We appreciate you. James, final thoughts as we wrap up this episode of There Hasn't Even Been a Game. We did an episode, and there hasn't been anything that's happened besides canceling of games. What do you got?
There won't be games for 2 more full days. There's a couple more reviews. You want to read them out? I found 3 more that we haven't read. No, there's one here because it's about me, so I want to read it because it's making fun of me.
Ooh, okay.
This is from Belzy113. This is from September 12th. We haven't done reviews in a while.
Okay.
I held out writing this review for a while, but my hand has been forced. Thought this was fixed, but I heard it again in the most recent episode, and I had to step in. James, I'm here to save you. When you want to describe an event that is representative of a player or the team, the correct word is emblematic, not enigmatic. Totally right. Every time that slipped out of my mouth, I was like, fuck, I just misspoke. But whatever. Enigmatic means mysterious. Best of luck. Love the podcast. You guys are great. So yeah, that's me. It's a hand up on that one. And there's 2 other ones here we haven't read, but maybe we can save them. One from Gavin and then one from Ryan.
I'll tell you, Gavin's gotten 3 in already. Now he's just using it as Q&As. It's Gavin Keogh. I know it is because he always says it in his reviews. Gavin, appreciate you. But we've answered them already. You can read Ryan Stoops. I don't think we read Ryan Stoops.
This one, Ryan, I feel bad. I'll see what you think about this one. Hey, you guys have a great podcast and provide great in-depth analysis on the Mets. I learned a lot about baseball listening to you guys. Unfortunately, your podcast is now rated E, so I can't listen anymore. Thanks for the great content.
It has to be a child, right?
And
That's got like parental locks or something.
he titled it "Sad to Go."
No, Ryan, YouTube.
YouTube, Ryan. Go to YouTube. We got you on YouTube, Ryan. Don't worry.
Sure, not explicit on YouTube. That's for sure.
Please go on YouTube and listen.
Because the cursing is the same amount it's always been. It's just now we are, with a network, so we have to label it explicit. We can't just get away with the nonsense we would when it was like Mark and James are on the underneath the Mets'd podcast name.
Yeah. But sorry, Ryan. YouTube. Go to YouTube. Listen on YouTube. If that's finally the merciful end of this podcast. Now we have to sit and stew for 48 hours till the Mets play another game.
Yep. You guys know what to do. Follow us on our social media at Mets'd on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Subscribe to the Mets'd podcast YouTube channel. Ryan, I'm talking to you if you want to watch and still continue to listen. And if you are listening, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. You can follow James on Twitter at
James_Shiano.
I'm Giraffe Neck Mark with a C. Thank you guys for listening and watching, and we will catch you. I don't know, hopefully before Sunday, because that means the Mets clinched. But if not, after Sunday. We'll see you guys then. Peace out.
Probably Monday. Let's go Mets. See you guys there.